well. Purdue's probably not going to make it. They're could not carry Hammonds and Co. cannot carry the Boilermakers on a deep run.
That's true.
That's because they're inconsistent with perimeter defense. So,
yeah.
Virginia.
Yeah. Gonzaga, Michigan State. While Gonzaga's gotten really far, and I'm impressed with what they've done thus far, they're going to get blown out by Michigan State badly, and this is not even close. Michigan State easy.
Seton Hall and Michigan State. If this actually happens, I will be watching this very closely. But Seton Hall's end will actually come in the round of 16. I don't see them going any farther. Michigan State.
And then the Elite Eight matchup, UVA, Michigan State, 1-2 for me. Picking Michigan State in this one just because of the experience that they have here. Don't get me wrong, UVA has a lot as well, but when it comes down to it, you need a player that comes up huge for the, either squad. I like Denzel Valentine as the best player on the court, picking Michigan State to get to the Final Four.
And when it comes to my bracket, Virginia versus Michigan State, I'm actually going Virginia. They need to crack down on the perimeter shooting, or else they're going to bow out early for the third straight year. But I see them, if they are able to keep their perimeter defense on points, they'll be able to stop Michigan easily, and definitely against Valentine. So I'm going Virginia.
Okay, so we're just going to go straight to it. Final four here. I have Kansas, Oklahoma, Providence, and Michigan State. Tom, I believe you have Kansas, Oregon, North Carolina, and Virginia. So for the Final Four, Kansas, Oklahoma, this will be the third time this season that they played, and the first two matchups were really, really good. They were arguably ESPN Classic type of games. For Kansas to beat Oklahoma for a third time this season is going to be a challenge because Oklahoma's figured out their weaknesses at this point. Buddy Hield has to play the game of his career for Kansas to have for Oklahoma to have a shot against Kansas, and I just don't see it. I just think Kansas overall understands how to play. They know they have a high flying offense, and when they're clicking, I don't care where they play, they're going to be really good and going to win. I'm going Kansas in this one over Oklahoma.
And mine is Kansas versus Oregon. And if this matchup happens, I'm going to be watching 6'8" senior forward Perry Ellis versus 6'7" sophomore forward Dylan Brooks. They are both averaging 16.8 points per game and 5.9 for Perry Ellis rebounds and 5.7 rebounds for Brooks. This will be a huge matchup, and if this happens, as I said, it will be a classic college Final Four game. But I will be going with Kansas for the win.
There you go. Providence, Michigan State for me. Again, Chris Dunn getting all the way to the Final Four. That's impressive. Again, if this happens, I'd be really, really impressed. That being said, they're going to play a Michigan State team that is lockdown defense, just as good, if not better, than Virginia. So that being said, Chris Dunn, I love you. I think you're a good player. You're going to be great in the NBA. I just don't think you're going to win a national championship. Going with Michigan State over Providence for the national championship.
And when it comes down to it, North Carolina versus Virginia, I am going with Virginia. Only because North Carolina does have depth in every position. I understand that. But Virginia has the top 10 in both offense and defense efficiency. Virginia plays at the nation's slowest pace, which is 62.4 possessions per game. So if they control the clock, if they control the ball, they will beat North Carolina, and not even resting the Carolina players will do any good if the pace is slow. So I'm giving it to Virginia.
Wow. Okay. I mean, it's going to be a good one. So for my national championship game, I have Kansas and Michigan State, two teams that are arguably some of the best in college basketball history, no question about it. I'm going Kansas in this one. They're arguably the best team in college basketball. They played really well as a team. They just have made the fewest mistakes of any team in college basketball. And when it comes down to it, sometimes it's not just about making the big shots. It's about making the fewest mistakes to pull you away early enough in the game. So I like Kansas over Michigan State. My final score in this one's going to be 80-74 Kansas over Michigan State.
And mine is Kansas versus Virginia. As I said before, Kansas and Virginia are the only two teams in the top 10 of both offense and defense. If this game happens, it's going to be it could either be a high-scoring game, low-scoring game, but it's all going to depend on turnovers and fouls for this one. My idea is that Perry Ellis, who's been with the Kansas team for all 4 years, he's going to win his championship. I'm going Kansas, and my final score is actually going to be low. It's going to be 62-58.
All right, perfect. That's going to be a good one. So again, thank you so much for listening, Tom. Thank you as always, much appreciated. And that's really it. It's funny, picking all these brackets has been fun the last couple of years. I guess I'm going to go with the final thought for the NCAA tournament bracket. My final thought is, you can listen to what we said, but look, at the end of the day, we have no idea. No one has any idea. We've never seen a perfect bracket ever in the history of time. There was a time that I picked Georgetown to win the national championship my freshman year of college, our freshman year, and they lost to Ohio in the first round. Not Ohio State, Ohio University, the Ohio Bobcats. And that just blew up my bracket at that point. I just said, well, that's it. That's the end of the game. That's the end of my bracket. So, but there have been times where I won one. I won a bracket when Florida was on their back-to-back national championship run. So, again, trust your instincts at the end of the day. But I'll be honest, you're not going to be 100% right. No one ever is. Just do your best. And that's all I got. Tom, you got anything?
My final thought is about surprises. Surprises are a huge thing when it comes to March Madness. You never know what's going to happen, even if a team is ranked number 1 to number 16. I remember back March 16, 2012, when I was sitting in my apartment in college. Ian and I had just gotten our brackets done, and we were watching the Lehigh versus Duke game. A number 2 Duke versus a number 15 Lehigh. That was an amazing surprise that Lehigh would beat number 2 Duke. So no matter what you pick, it's going to be wrong. It's all about the surprise. If you go for the underdog, that's all you really need in this tournament. It doesn't matter if all number 1s are in the Final Four. It's about the little man. Little man might actually be in the championship this year. So that's my final thought.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you so much for everyone for listening. Always appreciate it here. I'm going to round out here with one more song if I have it. So let's just double check here to make sure I do. Let's just scroll up to the top here. Yep, I do. Perfect here. All right, just throwing on one song just to sign off from Tom Crane and I. Thank you so much for listening. Appreciate it. Talk to you later. Bye.